Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the Featured Collection Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll be showing you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package. And you also have access to a PDF with instructions. So to get started, head over to your theme editor, navigate to the page that you want to add this section to. Over on the left, select Add Section and search for the newly installed section. And we have a default view that comes up. So over on the right side, we have plenty of options to get started. So the first thing you want to do is head over here and choose the collection that you want to show. So let's show the carousel and slideshow sections. Next, you can add in a title, which is the one up here. You can select an HTML element for it. This serves two purposes or two benefits. One, for SEO, search engines usually rank different types of texts by importance, by hierarchy. When we're looking at headings, we have 6 different options, H1 to H6, where H1 is the most important, and usually it's recommended to only have one H1 on each page. So usually that's the page title. In other cases, like if this is a section that's going to be lower down on your page, I would recommend using H2 or others. And the other benefit is that selecting one of these will actually inherit the styling options from your theme itself, where usually H1s are much bigger, H2s is a little bit smaller, maybe it's bold, maybe it's not. So you can set that up to sync up with the look and feel of your site without having to go and edit them down below. Next, we have section title position. So that's inside or outside of the wrapper. Now the wrapper is the entire section itself. And it's not as important if you're not using a background color. So we'll get into that a little bit later. We already selected a collection. Now we have settings for the carousel itself. We have an option to show one product at a time, as you can see here, like so. Or we can select to show two, like that. We have the dots down here. You can sweep between that. Or you can have 4, which is basically a grid view, just like that. And then it would rotate slides in that way. When using 2 or more products, you can add some more space in between each of the products if you want to give it a little bit more breathing room. As you can see, it starts enlarging over there. You can set the animation to fade or slide. So if it's on slide, it's more recognizable that are changing, but you can still use fade if you'd like. Navigation, we have an option to show dots, or you can use arrows, like that. Or you can select to have none. I also didn't mention autoplay. So you could set autoplay, and then every 2 seconds, it should switch automatically like that. But let's turn that off for now. Next, we have the option to set different sizes for the dots. So if we go back to the dots like that, they're small. You can have them bigger. You can see them getting enlarged up right over there. You can set the color of the dots. And if you choose to use arrows, you have an option to set the colors here. So let's just choose a dark red, and let's say a background of gray. So you have that look and feel as well. Or if you have your own icons for the arrows, you can upload them here as you would any other image. Or if they're SVGs, you can upload them to settings /files in the Shopify admin, and then you just copy the image path and paste it right in there, and it'll replace it. Some more options here for collection settings. Product limit, so you can limit the number of products that are going to be shown. This specific collection doesn't have so many, so you can so it won't reach the limit, but you can always set the limit and change that. You can select to show the product title or not, so clicking that just hides that, as well as show price. Image dimensions, usually you would want to choose original, so it comes in the way you have him appear on your site, but you can also change their look. It really does depend, because these are landscape images, so sometimes the portrait won't work. Same thing with square, you need to have a minimum height for it to be able to crop, so keep that in mind. You can also set a Shop Now button, so you can have a button like that, and you can style it below if you think it's too big or so on, and change the text of each button. Next, you have a section image, which is the image right over here. So you can select either to have it choose the collection image. Inside the Shopify admin, when you have collections, you can also add in an image itself. In this specific one, I don't have an image actually, but I have an option to choose a custom image, and then from here we would select the image like that. Here as well, we can select the image dimensions, so we can choose for it to be a square. And keep in mind that sometimes things won't align here because of the height or the spacing that we have, or the number of items in the grid. For instance, if we go back up here and change this to 2, then things look different and aligned as well. You could choose to have it portrait, landscape, like so. Now, only on desktop, you can also choose full height of image wrapper, so that usually it'll stretch the image to be the height of the entire wrapper, which takes into account the collection as well. You can swap the positioning of the image and the carousel itself. On mobile, you can set, if we go into the mobile view, you can choose to have the image appear above the carousel, below it, or just not show it at all, if you'd like. If we're in the mobile view, we can add some more spacing in there. So you could just select that, and that just moves the spacing a little bit more. Now for section styling, which is the entire section, we have section width, which is regular, and you can control that by this width, so you can make it much smaller or bigger if you'd like. You could choose full width. Now full width stretches the content out to the edges, but this is mostly seen if you select a background color. So you could see that the background color now goes all the way to the edges. And within that, you can still set the content max width, like that. Moving on, we have options for the section. Top margin, which is the space above and below the section itself. So if you want to give more space to the top, you could just select that and it pushes it down, or push down any other sections that are below. Could do something like that. And we have padding. Padding is the space within the section. So if you want more breathing room, you can select set up padding top, like that. If you want more space below, just like that. and horizontal padding to give it a little bit more breathing room to the sides. We have the same options set up for mobile, so when you go into mobile view, you can set up different values for that as well. Section title styling, so we can set, if you want to change the styling of the title, go in here. You can choose to do left aligned or right aligned, center. You can change its color. You can choose a custom font from a list that Shopify provides, or alternatively, if you have a manually installed font, you can put the CSS code for it here, and it'll use that. You can set the font weight of the font itself. And here we also have top margin, bottom margin. If you want more space right over there, you can add some more margin. You can change the font size. Line height isn't as relevant if you don't have a very long title, but usually it's the space between each line of text. And you can also set the letter spacing. And same options for the mobile, right over here. Next, we have styling for the collection itself. So we can add a collection background color. We could do something like that. We can give some more padding below if you want more space between that and the arrows. Usually that's not necessary. If you want more space between the image and the edge, you can add some more padding that way. Moving on, we have option to set the product text styling. So here we can do left aligned of the text, or right aligned or centered. Same thing on mobile view. Next, we can select the color of the text. So we can make that white. We can set the custom font for it, custom font weight, like so. Product title minimum height. So we can set the minimum height. It's usually issues occur when you have we don't really see that here, when you have a text that's here, let me see. If I set the font size a little bit bigger, that's a little bit too big. You see the misalignment here, because here we have one line of text and here we have two, so they're misaligned. So you can adjust the minimum height so that they do align, which basically gives a minimum height here of 2 lines, and then they do align. You can add a little bit more of margin for the top here, like so, and margin bottom with the price. And then we have also line height and letter spacing for the title itself as well. Same settings for mobile. Next, we have product styling. So here we can also set the color for the price, and the font weight, font size. So we can make, let's say, the price a little smaller if we want. Same options for mobile, yet again. And then for the button itself, we could set a maximum width of the button. Usually we wouldn't want to play with that too much because we have text and you can see that it gets all stacked. We have horizontal padding. So in case we want to have this smaller, we can lower this padding down. Something like that. We have vertical padding, so if we want the button to be shorter. Border width, we can either set 0 to have no border, or we can set a different width, 1 pixel or something like that. We can choose border radius, depending on the style of your site. and give a little bit more breathing room between that and the price. And bottom margin as well, which is basically the space here. And then we can select the different colors. So let's say we don't want a background color, we just want a border. So we can remove that color and then say the text will be white, the border will be white. And then we have options for hover. As you can see, we can hover and we can set those 3 different values for the background, the text, and the border to change once you hover. Obviously, this is only for desktop computers and not for mobile, since there's no hover on mobile. We have the same top and bottom margins for mobile. And we can change as well the button text styling here. So if we want to have a smaller button, just like that, or different letter spacing, and so on. And that's it. So thank you again. And we hope that this section helps you achieve your website goals. And if you have any issues, any problems or questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us via the support page on the website.